So here's where I'm going to do some announcements so they end up on the tape. Thursday, this coming Thursday, is supposed to be sunny. We'll see. Which means we're going to have a solstice ritual celebration Thursday morning during our usual time that we would be here. We're going to be at Ellen's house instead. Although there is going to be a solstice labyrinth here in the chapel. I think they said from 10 to 4, and they welcome anybody who wants to come and walk it. So we will be at Ellen's house. Shelley, who has done a lot of work with Johanna Macey in the work that reconnects, which is what our focus has been these last couple of weeks, will lead us in a meditation and a ritual. I'm so glad we're going to celebrate the solstice. It just makes good embodied earth sense to me. Everybody's welcome online, in person. Come in person if you can. If you are online, if you can, in your home, have a candle. We'll have candles there, but you'll need to have something in your home if you're online. You can, if you want, to bring little snacks or treats to share. It will be from 10 to 12. We'll do the ritual. It'll take about, it's not going to take, it will, after about an hour and a half, sort of the same time that we usually would spend in meditation and practice, we'll have time to have tea together. So I'm looking forward to that. Then we will not meet next week, which for those people who practice Christmas, it's amazing that's next week. So we will not be here Tuesday or Thursday of next week. Then the following week, we will be online only. And Erica will be leading us. And we're going to start studying the Buddha, I didn't bring the book again, an anthology of the Buddha's teachings on social and communal harmony. Erica will begin us out, start us on Tuesday, January 2nd, I think Thursday, January 4th, and then I'll be back and we'll pick it up there. I'm going to be at Tassajara with the Wildland Firefighters and with Sue and Ellen and a whole bunch of wild and crazy and wonderful wildland firefighters. Then I'll be back that following week. And then on January 28th, we're going to keep sending this out. You don't have to remember it, but I'll just keep saying it. January 28th, we're having an half-day sitting at my house, which is outside of Sebastopol, and an all-Sangha meeting in the afternoon. And that's going to be hybrid, in person and online. And we'll keep sending that information out. Okay? Okay. So, Johanna Macey and the work that reconnects. It's been republished or made available through, it's called Coming Back to Life. The full book is available through the newsletter. We have a link there. We also have a link there for the Buddha's social and communal harmony. Johanna Macey those of you, I'm saying this for Martha because she's new here. It seems to me most of the time we don't invite the world overtly into the Zendo. It's like we have enough world out there, and we get to do refuge here. But Johanna Macey so much invites the world in as Dharma. And Joan Halifax today sent out to the Soto Zen Buddhist Association a link that her friend Christina, I can't remember, she's head of UN climate change or something, and it's a little video that was put together before the COP. Is it COP 28? Is that what it's called? That was just in Dubai, the climate crisis, and it just seemed I just had the feel it's only about a minute and a half, but if we can do it, Gretchen's going to put it on screen. And I would just suggest while we're watching it, can we just practice being in our bodies, noticing what comes up? If you guys want to move, you know, any feelings, sensations, remember to breathe.
Dear COP28 President, as we enter the final days of COP28, we are at a tipping point. The world and its people need the strongest possible outcome to keep 1.5 degrees within reach. But delivering on this historic task requires us to act like a team. The signals of transformation and opportunity across sectors in society are all around us. At the same time, the climate emergency is biting harder than ever. It's up to us to seize this opportunity, because what is achieved here in Dubai must mark a legacy moment which determines the fate of our future generations. We, over 1,000 CEOs, mayors, governors, investors, indigenous peoples, health professionals, young people, faith leaders, scientists, athletes, and more, stand in courage and resolve with the COP28 President and all parties in bringing us together behind a rapid response to the global stocktake. Later is too late.
I realized after I saw that, I sent to Joan, I sort of hadn't cognized about it's too late. Suzuki Roshi said, "Never say too late." So how do we hold this? And we know that at that conference there were things done. I mean, they really did stay with it, and that as I think we talked about last week, there are some people who are doubtful that it's going to be enough or in time. Despair will not save us. Never say too late. And Johanna Macey is an amazing teacher that doesn't turn away. She doesn't turn away. And she's also fiercely turns towards. So that's what I want to bring forward today is just more about her work. We're going up over the top of it. Her work is so deep. It's so beautiful what she has done over time. I keep saying this, but she's engaged Buddhism in the deepest sense is she's just living it. And it's such deep Dharma, the way she articulates it and brings it to us. I think it's a beautiful teaching about how to meet and practice with everything that the world is bringing towards us, always and maybe in particular in these times. So, the basic assumptions of the work that reconnects, coming back to life. The theory underlying this work derives from the present challenge to choose life. How do we keep choosing life? This is bodhisattva work. From recognizing what stops us from choosing life, and from understanding the self-organizing powers of the universe. So here are 6 statements. I'm going to mostly read them because I'm sure they worked very hard on them, and I'll probably do a little commentary along the way. 1, this world in which we are born and take our being is alive. It's alive. It is our larger body. The entire world is Buddha's body. Everything is alive. The intelligence that evolved us from stardust and interconnects us with all beings. The intelligence that evolved us from stardust. Let that one in for a minute. And interconnects us with all beings is sufficient for the healing of our earth community. Everything we need is here. It's sufficient. There's nothing lacking here. That's such a profound and different way from despair or deprivation. It just turns the whole world. And it's the Lotus Sutra, but I won't keep stressing that, except maybe I will. Okay, number 2. Our true nature, Buddha nature, whatever you want to call it, is far more ancient and encompassing than the separate self defined by habit and society. There is something so much bigger going on here than little me. And I want to take good care of me and you and the whole world, but this is so much bigger. And ancient truths, I think indigenous peoples knew that. There was just much more connection to timeless time and space. We just have been conditioned to run across the top. We are as intrinsic to our living world as the rivers and trees, woven of the same intricate flows of matter and energy and mind. That's beautiful. Having evolved us into self-reflexive consciousness, the world can now know itself through us, behold its own majesty, tell its own stories, and respond to its own suffering. So I stopped self-reflective consciousness. I'm sure she's got whole chapters on this. What I thought, I love the language. Do you ever, when we, Buddha's, may we and all beings awaken to Buddha's mirror-like wisdom. Everything is a mirror, mirroring everything else. It's the jewel net of Indra. And deep consciousness knows that because it's what it is. 3, our experience of pain for the world. There is nothing wrong with us if we are experiencing grief, if we are experiencing dismay, we're experiencing maybe even a little overwhelm. We're just like, ay, 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 ay. It comes from, it's very good news to experience pain. Not to flog yourself, but to let yourself be tenderized and vulnerable enough to hear the cries of the world. But you can't do that if you don't have a practice, because you will just get knocked around. You have to know deep ground. Our experience of pain for the world springs from our connectivity with all beings, from which also arises our powers to act on their behalf. That's where a bodhisattva vow comes from, is the willingness to see and feel the cries of the world, which is also the sounds of the world. It's like, it means also being able to hear a bird song, being able to hear the rain on the roof. It's all inclusive. When we deny or repress our pain for the world, or treat it as a private pathology, something really wrong with me, there must be really something wrong with you if you're feeling the pain of the world. And then what we do is then we loop it back through our own personal pain, and then it fits into our stories, and it's like, but we learn to just sit in the beauty of feeling the world. If we repress or treat it as a private pathology, our power to take part in the self-healing of our world is diminished. Our capacity to respond to our own and others' suffering, that is the feedback loops that weave us into life, can be unblocked. We can wake up and be alive and be alive and be alive. Because that's what we are. This is very good news. Because a lot of us, and I'm sure we do it sometimes it's like, here I am, and other times it's like, I'm just going to bed and pulling the covers over my head. So we learn how to titrate this, how to be compassionate. But there is, to me, it's my language, once you decide that your life is bigger than your own life, that includes your own life, then you just keep saying, okay, here I am. I don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do this. Nobody knows how to do this. And, okay, but here I am. It's like a little bird in the morning. Do you ever get up and you hear the first bird song? Does that ever amaze you? The first, it's like, how do they know? And why is it one bird? You know, I mean, these are the kind of things that you just like, wow. How risky to breathe the first bird song, and it's just still dark, and there's just a little bit of light, and there's a bird out there way up in the tree singing. Anyway, maybe you all think I'm crazy, but I think this is amazing. Okay, 4, unblocking occurs when our pain for the world is not only acknowledged but experienced. Only when we allow ourselves to experience our feelings of pain for our world can we free ourselves from the fears of the pain. So in other words, I'm really afraid that if I feel anything, it's going to be too much, it's going to be too hard. I mean, you know, we all know this because we have been, you know, we've been hurt, but when you can just say, oh, that's just fear, because fear is extra. I mean, except for when it's real fear, which is really like, get out of there, and then you should get out of there. But you begin to discern when it's wise and embodied, and when it's just added on top, because it's you could say it's trauma body, or it's conditioned body. You just say, oh, hello, fear. I know you. You're trying to protect me. Okay, I'm just going to take a breath and see what's here next. Then she names the fear of getting permanently mired in despair or shattered by grief. Only then, when we can feel, only then can we discover the fluid, dynamic character of feelings. That's why I wanted to read this. This language is really beautiful. Only then can they reveal on a visceral level our mutual belonging in the web of life. So it's like most of us would probably say, yeah, there's a web of life. Yeah, it's all interconnected. Yeah, I'm part of it. Everything's part of it. And that's really lovely, but we're talking about visceral, which means you kind of actually have to put your body on the line, which is to sit down in Zazen, which is to practice, which is to show up, which is to help each other open our hearts and minds, and to know that the entire body is hands and eyes, and that we each have, like Avalokiteshvara, 1,000 hands and eyes. And my 1,000 hands and eyes are interconnected with your 1,000 hands and eyes, and the floor and the ceiling and the whole world, and it's rather mysterious. 5, when we reconnect with life by choosing to bear the pain, the mind retrieves its natural clarity. Not only do we experience our interbeing in the community of Earth, but also a mental eagerness arises to match this experience with new paradigm thinking. So, Tibetans would say, in a certain way, it's really, in a Tibetan way, you would say it's seclacious, and it's a practice of eating the poisons. It's transformative. It's like there's a blue dakini that's symbolic of anger. There's other colors, but I love this one because I practice with anger. Probably I'm the only one in the room. But that if you learn to stay in these strong emotions, they get transformed and they become clarified. And then anger, if you skip it or go over or under it or indulge it, we're just going to keep acting out the same old thing. But if you stay with big emotions, it becomes clarity. And then you know the appropriate response. And it's not from the same old reactivity anymore. It's from wise Buddha action. Concepts which bring relatedness into focus become vivid. Concepts which bring relatedness into focus become vivid. Instead of just an idea of we're related, it becomes more vivified. Significant learnings occur, for the individual system is reorganizing and reorienting, grounding itself in wider reaches of identity and self-interest. So if you feel like, or you keep constellating into who you think you are, which we all do all the time, you will just keep being who you think you are. But it's still, but you sort of can't help yourself, because the whole world is helping you on a cellular level reconstitute and reorganize yourself all the time. That's what Zazen really is you just sit down on a cellular level in the center with and for all beings and everything. It's like, if you want to do your little imaginative thing, there's little Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in there, like running around in your cellular system as you breathe in and out, reorganizing and retuning you to everything. But you don't have to believe that. But I kind of like these images. Just sit down and breathe. It's already here, and what you need is already happening. But as I said to somebody today, and I said, I'm a really good struggler. Maybe you are too. You give me something to struggle against or come up, and it's like, but all you have to do is sit down and let it happen. This is such a radical concept. Sit down, awake and alert on the earth, but you really entrust yourself to alive. Does this blow your mind? This blows my mind over and over. Okay, 6. The experience of reconnection with the earth community arouses the urge to act on its behalf. That's the dangerous thing. So the more you wake up, you just want to be of help. And you still do self-preservation, and I'm as self-centered, well, not quite as self-centered as I used to be, but there's something else simultaneously going on. As we experience bodhicitta, the desire for the welfare of all beings, Earth's healing powers take hold within us. Cool. For these powers to function, they must be trusted and acted upon. The steps we take may be modest undertakings, but when they involve some risk to our mental comfort, they free us. So in other words, you will be uncomfortable because you won't know who you are anymore. Which is why we need, I think, practice and Sangha. Because otherwise we keep, and we still will, keep running back to the safety of habits, because that's where it feels safe and known, even when we really know that those old habits aren't so helpful, and in fact probably are causing harm to ourselves and others. Courage is a great teacher and bringer of joy. Root word of courage is heart. Doesn't mean you have to get on a white steed and charge into something. Courage is really just be here. Wow, just the courage to just be here on the earth with your feet and your body and your heart, breathing in and out, open and closing, and don't know mind. It's so simple. And we all know it's not. It just takes great intention. So I will remind us that over the years, the work that reconnects is, Johanna's come up with the idea of a spiral, that there are 4 successive stages, all of which are completely interconnected. One supports the other. The first one is gratitude. Gratitude. If you can come to Paula Arai on January 14th, her premise and the healing ritual is going to be all about gratitude. Gratitude because it quiets the mind and brings us back to the source. Stimulates our empathy and confidence. And we want to express our love of life on earth in brief and concrete terms, and it helps us be more fully present and grounded in whatever needs to be felt. Gratitude, folks. Forget everything else. Gratitude. 2, honor your pain for the world. It means you're alive. Can't remember some conversation I was in. Oh, I know. We were just talking about, even when we were young, there was just the feeling there's something not quite right here. I always kind of knew that, and I couldn't figure it out. That's why I landed here. But it's like, if things feel kind of out of balance, or what's going on here, it's like, be willing to ground and feel it all the way through. That's how we wake up. Honoring our pain and daring to experience it, we learn the true meaning of compassion, which means to suffer with. You know, that's what compassion actually means. We begin to know the immensity of our heart-mind. What had isolated us in private anguish now opens outward and delivers us into the wider reaches of our collective existence. And then, although it's not linear, we begin to sense a larger life within us that lets us see with new and more open eyes and heart. And interestingly, she says, you begin to taste your own power to change. It's an interesting word, power. Don't usually, we go around that word, power. But I think power being power in the worldly terms, power over, power under, but to just be in the full power of alive, like just go hang onto a tree and feel it, for goodness sakes, you know? Or the rain, or whoa. And then we go forth into the actions that call each of us. So this is really important. Keeping with our situation and gifts. You don't have to turn into somebody else. If it's not your thing to go out on the streets, that's not your thing. Maybe someday you'll go out on the streets because that will suddenly be what you need to do. But find out who you are and how you choose life and how it manifests through you. And everybody's going to do it different. Find that out. Stop comparing yourself to other people. And then she says the spiral begins again and again. And just a final. The invitation to engage in this work in ways that acknowledge and affirm. The engaging in this work acknowledges and affirms that we all, in all of our beautiful diversity, have much to learn from each other. That we need each other, all of us, in infinite diversity. And I would say people forms and skin colors and cultures, but also it's like worms and foxes and trees, and we all need each other. It's just, we can't help it, but we just know that more and more. I don't know why I keep thinking of worms. Maybe it's because when it rains, they come. Do you remember when you were a kid and it would rain? I grew up in Ohio, and it would rain, and they would all come out they'd come out on the sidewalk, and you didn't want to step on them. And I remember worrying a lot about little worms, but also like, amazing. Where did they come from, and what are they doing? Worms. Mycelia, whatever. And it may mean returning to some very old life-sustaining ways that has been here forever, listening to our ancestors and our indigenous peoples, and towards new expressions and emergent life-sustaining societies. It is important work on which we can bet our lives and that of our mother. So again, that's just an overview, and Shelley will take us more deeply into it on Thursday. I thought what I wanted to do was close with, I got to spend time with Rachel and Myra the other day. They have the most amazing dog. I'm sorry, they're going to have to watch out for me. No, I wouldn't do that. Jackson belongs with them, absolutely, but they do have an amazing dog. But here's a poem that Myra gave me. She said I could share it. All the more. If the great darkness is descending, let me praise all the more ever last ray of light. If famine is our future, may I savor all the more every meal eaten with those I love. If extinction is our destiny, may I cherish all the more each bird's unique song as it greets the sunrise. While it is yet possible, may I be more generous, more giving, more grateful, more present and awake to the abundant beauty that is still here today. Kayleen Osbo. Suzuki Roshi said, and he took it from the Lotus Sutra actually, to shine one corner of the world. To shine one corner of the world. Why don't we just, about 10 minutes, you can just go in little groups of 3. I'll put you in little groups of 3. What's that mean to you? To shine one corner of the world. What's that got to do with how's that going to help anybody? Sorry. It came from the Lotus Sutra, so that gives you a clue. What is it to just shine one corner of the world? Okay, there's no right answer. Have